The hospital bed is supposed to be the last safe place, a haven where pain is managed, dignity preserved, and life clings to the promise of recovery. But for hundreds of Charles Cullen's patients, the hospital became their tomb. He didn't stalk in shadows. He didn't wear a mask. He didn't need to. Charles Cullen's uniform was trust. His weapon, a syringe filled with death. Inside the sterile glow of late-night ICU halls, where machines beep in rhythmic lullabies, Cullen moved like a ghost. He was polite, soft-spoken, forgettable. And that's what made him lethal, because no one suspected the quiet man in scrubs. Between 1988 and 2003, Cullen was shuffled between hospitals like a dirty secret. He didn't escape detection, he was ignored, over and over. HR managers passed him on, compliance teams chose silence, nurses whispered behind closed doors, but administrators looked the other way. What happens when a killer wears the costume of a caregiver? One hospital wrote him a glowing recommendation, even after a patient coded minutes after Cullen left the room. Another, faced with mounting suspicions, simply asked him to resign. No police, no public record, just gone. Like a stain they didn't want to scrub too hard.
Did you get the sense at Somerset, for example, that any of your colleagues, any of the nurses, any of the doctors knew what was going on?
No, I mean, until, the day I was fired, I mean, nobody gave me any indication that anybody was suspicious. I mean, the weird thing about Somerset Hospital is that they were planning on firing me the night before. So they let me work one more shift, knowing that they were going to fire me the next day. So they let me work an additional shift with the suspicion that I had harmed patients, which is kind of bizarre thing to do.
Did you harm anybody that night?
No.
The result, he'd just show up somewhere new, another hospital, another ward, another group of helpless patients. And Cullen was evolving. He experimented with medications, digoxin, insulin, epinephrine. Each dose calculated, each victim carefully chosen. Sometimes he would wait and watch. Other times he would double back, increasing doses if the first injection didn't kill. He became his own grim statistician, refining the science of death under the pretense of mercy.
It was a very powerful cardiac medication.
What does it do to someone?
In small amounts, it slows the heart rate down. In larger amounts, it can cause what's called complete heart block. And then the heart is very irregular. And, it can cause death. It does cause death in large amounts.
And when questioned, he called it mercy, said he was putting them out of their misery. But this wasn't mercy, this wasn't compassion. Cullen didn't know his victims, didn't talk to their families, didn't ask for consent. They weren't in unbearable pain. Many were recovering, some even due to be discharged. This was control, pure chilling control. He wasn't easing suffering. He was playing God.
Did you get pleasure out of it? Satisfaction?
No, I mean, I thought that people weren't suffering anymore, so in a sense, I thought I was helping.
There were people that you caused to die who were not near death and not suffering that much.
My goal here isn't to justify, what I did. There is no justification. I just think that the only thing I can say is that I felt overwhelmed at the time.
In interviews, detectives would describe how Cullen confessed in a cold, mechanical tone, like he was reciting grocery lists. He didn't cry. He didn't flinch. He remembered names, dosages, faces, but spoke of them like data points, not human beings. He once told police he felt relief after a killing, that the silence, the stillness that followed, gave him peace. To this day, investigators believe he may have killed over 400 people. That number would make him the most prolific serial killer in U.S. history and perhaps in modern global history. But we'll never know for sure. So many patients were cremated. So many records lost, falsified, or sealed under hospital bureaucracy. For every confirmed death, there are a dozen more wrapped in doubt. Some families never even knew their loved ones were murdered. They were told it was natural causes, heart failure, complications, age. They held funerals, said their goodbyes, never knowing their final memories were written by a nurse with a God complex.
I tried to kill myself throughout my life because I never really liked being who I was, because I didn't think I was worthy of anything.
So why wasn't he stopped? Because hospitals protected themselves. Because the system that exists to heal was too afraid to confront the rot inside its walls. In protecting their reputations, they failed to protect lives. The Cullen case shattered public trust. It wasn't just a tragedy, it was a betrayal. News reports exploded. Victims' families took to the media with fury and grief. Lawsuits followed. Politicians scrambled. Hospital executives resigned. But the damage had already been done.
One day, without you even knowing it, your life will end. And what legacy will you have left behind, sir? A serial murderer, serial killer. You ruined the lives of your family, your children, and many people in this courtroom. You've bloodied and stained the medical profession. Absolutely abhorrent what you did, sir.
And I still can't really comprehend it. A registered nurse who was supposed to be a caretaker took the life of my brother for his own personal, selfish, and twisted gain. Charles Cullen, you are a coward. I am very brave for standing here today, but you yet cannot even look me in the eye and face me.
My heart, it aches for my son. It bleeds for my son.
We vividly remember Charles Cullen walking into the waiting room. He looked us right in the eye and stated how Michael was gravely ill and people don't make it. And my wife told Cullen, "That's enough, you could leave now." We're haunted by the memory of Charles Cullen coming to the waiting room to get our reaction.
In the years after Cullen's arrest, sweeping changes were promised. New laws were passed, requiring hospitals to report suspicious deaths. Medication systems were overhauled. Whistleblower protections were strengthened. But even today, cracks remain. Could it happen again? We'd like to think no, that we've learned, that we've built stronger guardrails. But the truth is, evil rarely wears horns. It hides in plain sight, in soft voices, in pressed uniforms, in people we trust without question. And Charles Cullen is proof. He's not the monster in the alley. He's the one who holds your hand when you're afraid. Who adjusts your blanket and tells you it'll be okay. Who smiles and then quietly ends your life.
Danny pushed this piece of paper across the table to me, and it was the Pixis printouts. And I was devastated. I knew he was murdering people.
How did you know that?
There were so many withdrawals of lethal medications. There's no reason except if you want to kill someone.
His story is more than just a true crime. It's a lesson in complacency. A warning that even within the safest walls, darkness can grow. That sometimes the people meant to save us are the very ones we need saving from. He didn't kill out of rage or hatred. He killed because he could, because no one stopped him, because the silence around him was louder than the screams of the dying. Charles Cullen sits behind bars today, not because the system worked, but because it finally failed too loudly to ignore. And somewhere in a hospital bed once touched by his hands, a monitor went flat, and nobody asked why.
You knew it was wrong
Yes, I did.
at the time.
At the time and later.
Are you sorry what you did?
Yes. But like I said, I don't know if I would have stopped.